This was awesome. Thank you for tuning in. This video was brought to you by Shuckin' and Jivin'. This is your girl, Janae, and I'm coming to you today. I wanted to do this interview because Minister Farrakhan is going to be addressing the nation this weekend, and I wanted to talk to some, a great guy in the community, someone who works with Minister Farrakhan and works in the Miami-Dade, South Florida community, and ask him about the importance about what's going on. So without further ado, I want to bring in Brother Patrick Muhammad. Hey!
How you doing, Sister Jenny Tate?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome, welcome, welcome to High Low News and what we do here with our live interviews. And I'm so grateful that you came on with me last minute. Usually we will record these, but it's timely. I wanted people to know about Minister Farrakhan's message, why we should tune in, and just learn more about the Nation of Islam and what they're doing in the community. So let's just start. Like, tell me a little bit about you. How did you get involved with this work? How did you get join the Nation of Islam, and tell me about your walk with the nation.
Sure. Thank you again for having me on your show.
Of course.
Um, I was born in New York, Brooklyn, New York. I am all of my parents and relatives are Haitian descent. So I'm
Okay.
a son of Haiti. And at the age of about 6 months to a year, my mother, as a single parent, sent me to Haiti. And I lived there for nearly 15 to 16 years. So I'm trilingual. I speak also French and Creole. And at about the age of 15, my mother moved here back into the US in California. My grandmother was sick at that time. And of course, growing up without that father figure, you come here and it's like a new territory. And I got involved with the wrong crowd, the so called gangs and everything else. And I was living the lifestyle that I even programmed myself that I would not live past 25 years of age.
Wow.
And around 19, I was about 19 or so, some group of friends were talking about going to a concert, it seems like. And they mentioned a name that I never heard before. And at that time, it was Minister Louis Farrakhan. I never heard of him, never heard of the nation. I didn't know anything about the nation. And I attended the LA Coliseum. It was the Stop the Killing tour. And there, while he spoke in the middle of his lecture, something happened to me where I began to shed tears listening to
Mm.
what he was saying, which I didn't do. I didn't cry for no man and that kind of, we were
Yeah,
rough and tough. And
yeah.
but he touched me, and I remember saying in my mind that I think I found the father that I never had.
Wow.
So I
That's
left
deep.
I left from there. I saw the brothers. They were selling bean pies. I had some bean pie. I was so ignorant. I had me some bean pie, and I thought that made me a Muslim. And so I went out still doing the same thing I was doing, but the seed of his message had been dropped in my mind. And about a year later, I was invited as a guest to go to a meeting there in Los Angeles, California. And when I walked in there and then I saw his picture and all, I said, "That's the man I heard a year ago." And I stood then and I never looked back. And I've been in the Nation of Islam as a registered member for 27 years now. I held various functions as far as post capacities are concerned. And then at a young age, I was rarely engaged to enter the ministry class that I was running away from. And then I became a student minister and I went to Phoenix, Arizona. So there I became the student minister for Phoenix, Arizona for 10 years. And lo and behold, what happened, the minister also comes there every year. So I
Wow.
had the blessing and the opportunity to be coached by him for nearly a decade. And then after the earthquake in Haiti, I
Hmm.
moved here in Miami on faith, wanted to help. And then I got a call and I was asked if I could help in Miami as an interim student minister, and then thereafter to expand, becoming a seventh regional student minister. And what the region consists of is the state of Florida, that I have responsibility for the Nation of Islam, the Caribbean islands, South and Central America, including Mexico. So this has been my journey in here, and of course, headquarters for us is right there in Liberty City.
Nice. Hey. And Brother Muhammad, what does the student minister do? Like, can you tell me a little bit about that role?
Oh, yes, he has a lot of responsibility, or she has a lot of responsibility. Number one, of course, he has to be studious, learn and study. Study everything. We study the scriptures, we study the Bible, we study the Holy Quran, we study mathematics, we study science. And our main job is to help deliver our people from being dead. And when I say dead, I don't mean physically dead, but being spiritually dead, being mentally dead, being morally dead, physically as well, as far as diet is concerned, socially, economically. And that's the number one mission of what a student minister is engaged in to help to do. So, for instance, if it's crimes, and to help bring about the peace in our community, teaching our brothers and sisters their value from the life giving teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of Minister Farrakhan, teaching them who they are. And once we learn who we are, we find out that we're divinely connected to the Creator. Why the world is in the condition that it's in. Why are we suffering? What are all these things? The law of cause and effect. We study that intensely. So we don't just focus on the effect of things, we go into the root or the cause of it. So the number one responsibility of a student minister is to work with the community, work with different religious entities, work and doing the work amongst the less fortunate people that they've forgotten, the crack addicts, the drug dealers, and the
Mm.
gangbangers, and against domestic violence, pastoring and counseling. So, yeah, the load is pretty hefty. And
Well,
then some.
you got your hands full there, but I'm sure you're very capable.
I'm
Uh,
trying, trying, trying.
that's what's up.
Yeah.
Brother Muhammad, can you tell us about what's going to happen this weekend? What is Minister Farrakhan preparing us for? Can you talk more about this event this weekend and what to expect? How do we connect? Like what's going on this weekend?
Yes. Well, the minister is set to deliver a message, an announcement to the world, July 4th, which is this Saturday. It will be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everyone can go on NOI.org. It's going to be streaming live. And the
Okay.
minister, in giving this message, is concerning the current state of affairs in America,
Mm-hmm.
in the world, the coronavirus global pandemic, and other critical subjects. We are witnessing, the minister told us in February, last time he spoke publicly, he prophesied, I can say, that we will be seeing America um, unraveling herself.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, the coronavirus hits. This is a pandemic that has happened. The President of the United States of America, so at times he states that he is a war president. But
Mm-hmm.
then when you're dealing with war, you're dealing that at least someone knows who their enemy is. But
Yeah.
this virus, they can't see it. And it's like this virus is operating on its own, or there's a greater power operating the virus. So the minister is going to be addressing, why is God allowing the coronavirus? Then, in
Mm.
the midst of the virus, the COVID 19, while America is being the center of everything that is going on in the world, leading in the coronavirus, leading in deaths, and then in that same statistics, Black people in particular were the one leading.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does that mean? And so the minister is very full in the spirit. He's been praying, he's been meditating. Just like I explained to you that my role and function as a seventh regional student minister. Unfortunately, we lost one of our student regional minister to the COVID-19, and
Oh,
it
sorry.
really affected the minister a lot. It was companion of the minister, working hard in the community, and this is affecting so many families and so many people. So now we're looking at a virus, Sister Janae, that in 3 months we had over 58,000 people in America who died. But did you know that the war in Vietnam, it was the same amount of people that died in 9 years? So the
Wow.
amount of people that died in 9 years in the war, people, citizens died in America in 3 months. So what is that a sign of? And then while America was on the front screen of the world, another virus, not that it we didn't know it existed, but it manifested, the virus of racism, police
Speak on it.
brutality, the way that we've been saying for years how we've been treated. Is just that now there are cameras now and people are recording. What is that a sign of? Then if you look also when the coronavirus happened in Texas, people were trying to find food, and there was a place in Texas where they had food available for people for about 4,000. 10,000 people showed up, so there was not enough food. So what is this signs of in the scriptures? What is God's hand in this? And that is what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be speaking on July 4th. This is a message to the United States President of America. It's a message for the rulers of this world. It's a message for the Pope. It's a message for the Muslim leaders. It's a message for every person of every faith. It's a message for every inhabitant on the planet Earth. And I will tell you, my dear sister, I had the honor and privilege to speak with the minister last week. And when I spoke with him, and I've spoken with the minister, and I heard him in different formats as well, the minister, he has a very compassionate, I mean, always caring. I bear witness. And I have to say, in the 27 years that I've been in the Nation of Islam, the minister spoke recently, and I have never heard his voice like that before.
Wow.
And
What
at
what did he
one point,
sound like?
yeah,
Like
at one,
what did he
yeah,
sound like?
well, at one point, when he was talking to us, I thought that something was wrong with the phone. And I was like, is the minister still on? Because he was talking and it just stopped, maybe bad connection. And then it was a pause for about 10 to 15 seconds. Then the minister came back on. And when he came back on, it's like he was weeping.
Mm,
I heard it in his voice, and I had never heard my spiritual father, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, like that. And then he says, I'm prepared now to deliver a message to the world. And then he said, when the pause happened, he says, and then, and then you will never have to hear from me again.
wow.
Yes,
So could this be the last time that we see Minister Farrakhan speak publicly? Like that's historic.
it could very be. The minister has been teaching for 65 years,
Wow.
you know, eh,
65 years.
65 years. He's been on this mission. I mean, I can't even elaborate on the things the minister has done in the Nation of Islam. You had the Million Man March in 1995. That never happened before in America. You had the Million Family March. The minister said, where there is no family, there's no nation. He wanted to see us encouraged to that. And then making sure that we also adopt children that were less fortunate. As a result of the Million Man March, a lot of us got engaged in adopting children and everything else. Then he gave us the Millions More movement. As far as a movement is concerned, that would embrace everyone, not just because I'm in the Nation of Islam, but there's Christians and the people of different faiths that we can work together with ministries, Ministry of Education, Foreign Affairs, and everything based on spirituality. He laid all of this. Then we had the justice or else. People was like, "Whoa, what you mean or else?" He said, "Well, I mean, God is saying or else. In other words, What is the solution, which the minister will be addressing on July 4th as well? What is the solution for us as a people that we keep going to people who it's not in their nature to give us justice? So what do
Mm,
you do? 400 plus years we're crying the same thing, no justice, no jobs. I mean, after a while, I mean, I'm married. I'm thank God for being married for 22 years now, and other people have been married. If you were in a relationship, my sister or anybody else, and you had a man who was abusing you all the time, and you said, okay, maybe he's gonna change. Okay, he said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and it keeps going on. You're like, wait a minute, this is 10 years. This man is still emotionally abusing me, spiritually abusing me, and he's physically abusing me. At one point, something in your nature is going to say, you know what? We got to separate.
mm,
And you're going to separate. And when you separate, you're going to see, well, maybe during the separation, let's see if things going to change. And you notice things are not changing, then you go before the judge and you say, you know what? I want a divorce. And the judge says, why? And you said, because we have irreconcilable differences. Well, could it be that we as a people have to be separated today from a people that does not give us justice, no freedom, no equality? Do we have a land that we can call our own and produce economically? Every time you go in Miami and in every city in the world in America, there's a Koreatown, there's a Chinatown, there's Jewish town, there's a Brazilian town. Where's our town? Well, are we producing? But yet we're generating over $1.2 trillion a year as consumers and not producers. So
mhm.
the minister told us about coronavirus, and this is why this is very important. I would encourage all the listeners, whoever is watching, you don't want to miss this one. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Because the minister says that famine is coming next. He said this
Wow.
coronavirus is not going to go away quick. Police
Wow.
brutality, all these. So he's offering that solution, and the world is going to do whatever they're going to do with it. And it's not on the minister to make us change. The duty of a messenger is to plainly deliver the message. It's up to us what we're going to do with it. A lot of black people in particular, and many people in the world, this whether it's Latinos, natives, poor whites, people are saying there has to be a change. There has to be a change. But wait a minute. We want change, but we don't want to change.
Hmm. That's
Yeah.
deep.
See,
Brother
so
Yeah,
yes.
Brother Muhammad, I just wanted to just kind of piggyback on what you were saying because I've actually experienced domestic violence. So that example
Wow.
definitely hit home for me. And then also, too, I remember seeing Minister Farrakhan on the Breakfast Club and talking with Charlemagne and DJ Envy Angela Yee, and he was talking about a lot of the things that we're dealing with right now. And so that's a part of the reason why I was like, I want somebody to come on who's a part of the nation to kind of
Yeah.
give us that background or like a little bit of information on that because it is kind of interesting and kind of, I don't want to say spooky, but it's kind of like I remember him saying specific things about what we're going through now with the pandemic, police brutality, and it's happening now. And he said that
Hmm.
on their show in different messages. And so I'm like, I think we need to be tuned in as a community on what he's going to say this weekend. And I'm so happy that you're breaking it down for us.
Absolutely. You know, it's not spooky, Sister Janae. What it is prophetic. Prophecy is being fulfilled. How can a man, I mean, I've been around the minister. I'm a living witness. I can bear witness what I've seen, what he has taught me as a student of his. And then 6 months later or so, it happens. I have seen it. I have witnessed it. I've seen it in the world. The minister was one of those who told us to watch the weather and the increase of the calamities that will be facing America. Since he said that, what if you pull up history in the last decade in America, calamities are increasing every year, even making the country to go bankrupt. This is serious. The minister will be talking on the financial crisis in America, in the world. I mean, in 3 months, you had millionaires, my dear sister, who in December were top notch millionaire. And by March, April, they were on the verge of filing bankruptcy.
Wow.
nearly 500 some thousand and whatnot. So this is very serious. But the key thing is, where's God's hand in this? Nothing happens without God's permission. The
Hmm.
minister said when he was nearly weeping, he quoted Isaiah 26:20, where it says, "Go in your chamber now." Time to go. People who wanted to party all the time, well, God arrested everyone with a virus. Now you got to stay home. Now you got
Ooh.
to spend time with your family. Now you're getting to see things about your family that you never learned before. Now we got to learn how to cook. Now we got to find time to read. See that? All in the chamber. Then the minister said that the angel of death is now inside America.
Mm.
He says the indignation is here, and we have to be in our chambers until the indignation passes. Now, as a student, we have to clear the word. I was like, what is indignation? So I had to look it up. And when I looked it up in the dictionary, one of the definition, my dear sister, of indignation is righteous anger.
Wow.
So the minister says that God is righteously angry. So if we're asking why would God permit this to happen? Why would God allow this to happen? The minister says, and God could say to us, I have held my peace for a long, long time. I have given you many laws, statutes, and commandments, and you've broken every one of them. Look
Wow.
at the world. Look at the condition, the behaviors. Is this something that I don't care what you say you believe in? Do you think, do I think, do we think that God is pleased with our behaviors, with
It really does
America?
feel like that. It does feel like we're
Exactly.
punished right now.
No, and well,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. The rulers of this world, they're not exempt from this. Nobody's exempt from this. We're not exempt from this. Well, how we're not exempt from this? You asked earlier, what does the Nation of Islam do? I've been watching on the internet a lot of people criticizing the minister, the Nation of Islam, and I had to go on there, and I've been on a campaign on
Hmm.
social media. I said, first of all, the Nation of Islam is here for good guidance. That's what the nation is for. The minister has given us good guidance, proper male and female relationship. From where I came from, the walk of life that I came from, were it not for the minister teaching us what is of the Nation of Islam, I'm learning how to be a father. My wife and I, we have 6 children and now 2 grandbabies. I would
Oh
have
wow.
never done that. You know what? I'm striving to be a spiritual man. I'm learning how to fast. I'm learning how to study. I don't spend my money on foolishness. I strive to do what I can for my family, prepare on how to dialogue. That man has taught me that. And I'm not going to sit here and be a silent witness and not give credit where credit is due. In the Nation of Islam, one of the reasons a lot of people don't come, especially black people, they don't like the discipline.
Mm.
I'm just being real.
But
They don't
see,
like the
brother,
discipline.
Brother Muhammad, and I've seen the criticism, and I think some people, they classify it as hate speech. They say maybe the nation is divisive or maybe not inclusive of all walks of life. So what do you say to that? Like, is the nation welcoming? Like, maybe that's a part of that conversation too that I think we need to have. And for me, I wanted to kind of dive into that because when I saw Minister Farrakhan, videos of him in his interview with the Breakfast Club, I didn't get that type of vibe from it. So, and all the people that I've interacted with, I'm, Christian by from what I've been raised, but I've never been rejected or felt a certain way around anyone from the Nation of Islam. So I kind of wanted you to kind of go into that. Like, how
Yeah.
does the nation accept people who may not believe what they believe or don't have the walk of life that they have? Like, are you guys rejecting those type of people?
The Nation of Islam does not reject anyone. If you look into the Muslim program, it talks about what we want. It talks about what we believe. And you can always find it on Final Call. You can even go on finalcall.com or subscribe to Digital Final Call. It's right there in the program. What we believe and what we want. We want freedom, justice, and equality for all, regardless of class, creed, or color. The Nation of Islam doesn't have any history of killing people and whatnot. We don't do that. But I'm glad you brought the point as far as even yourself as a Christian. You know, if I were to take a look at Jesus, and Jesus in his time, you had the scribes and the Pharisees, if they took sound bites of the scriptures of what Jesus said, they would say he's a hater too.
Mm.
Now, I read the Bible and I'm glad that I'm taught that way to read the scriptures. You can't even be a Muslim if you don't believe in Jesus. A lot of people didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
You see?
Thought it was.
Yeah. You did you know that in the Holy Quran that we also study, there's an entire chapter called Mary, the mother of Jesus. A whole chapter. And it's talking about Jesus. So we believe in that. Now, as far as the historical point, we have to, have a proper dialogue on it. But guess what? Jesus was talking to the Jews in the Bible in John 8th chapter. And he said to them, "You are of your father, the devil." That's what he said. Then in another part in Revelation, he says, "You are of the synagogue of Satan." That's what he said. Now, let's just take the scribes and the Pharisees of yesterday and put them today like the media does. Fox, CNN, all of them. And they take sound bites of what the minister says. And then they say, he's a hater of this. Prove it. See, the
Mm.
world is coming to a showdown that we're going to have some dialogue. You're going to have to prove that the Nation of Islam is a nation of hate. But guess what? Be ready, because we have scholars in the nation, research teams, good students, people. We have attorneys in the nation. We got scientists. We got doctors. We got people think it's just the brothers in the streets on the final call and the bean pie. No, that's not just it. We got sisters who are engineers, civil engineers. We have all that. So we're taught to study, and we will come before the world, as the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan says, and present our argument. Our track record shows that we are not haters. We are not haters. That's why Ice Cube today can put on his social media, when somebody was talking against the minister recently, he said, "Watch your mouth."
Mm.
I think that's named Tapper or Taper of CNN. See, people, and these are people who are not like in the nation. People are like, no, wait a minute. No, I know what the nation does for us. In Liberty City, no, actually Overtown, Sister Jenny, we are Muslims, right? If we didn't want to collaborate with anybody, look at what we did. God bless us to do. There were
What did
some
you do?
young brothers were in Overtown, and they trust us. They see us in the community. They talk with us. And these young brothers were talking about robbing a church right there in Overtown. And we were there, and we
Wow.
asked them, "Why are you going to do that?" He said, "Man, as far as I'm concerned, the church, I see some of these pastors, and these are the words they use, as pimps."
Wow.
This is the young ones at 16, 17, 18, and they were talking about they wanted to rob them because they said all they see them doing is collecting money, and they come out in the hood, they're in their expensive cars, windows rolled up, they don't even talk to us, so we're going to hit them up. You know what we did? God blessed us to convince them not to do that.
Wow.
Now we Muslims, and these young brothers in the street said, "Man, because of y'all, we're not going to do that." We helped to stop crime right by the mosque here in Miami. We're having our meetings, and a sister's running down the street, and a brother's chasing her with a brick, want to hit her upside the head. One of our brothers ran and in between them, covered the sister, so the brother wouldn't hit the sister. We took the sister into the mosque building. We didn't ask her what her faith was. We didn't ask her what she believed in. And the brother came out. And then I was called, so I went outside to go talk to the man and said, "Man, you know what's wrong with you?" He said, "Man, I just want to talk to her. She's my girl." I said, "Right now, she's in protective custody. We're
Mm,
protecting her." I said, "You my brother, and that's our sister, and we're not gonna allow you to harm her." And we took that sister, Sister Janae, and put her in a car with some other sisters at the mosque and took her all the way home to make sure of safety. This is what the honorable minister. If a man is such a hate teacher, can you see hate in that?
no.
That's the truth. That's love. Love makes you do that. So the scripture says, you judge a tree by the fruit it bears. This is what Minister Farrakhan produces with the way he teaches. No, it's those rulers of this world who don't like what he's saying because of the truth that he's talking about. And
Mm,
that's what we need to get to. There's a big difference. It's not time for emotions right now. It's either it's the truth or it's not. Some of the people calling the minister a hater is the same people who had their hands in financing the transatlantic slave trade. So you don't want to hear that?
mm,
Farrakhan is
no.
bold enough to tell you that? Farrakhan is bold enough to tell you some of these plans and wars that you plan, and you want minorities to join the armed forces and fight your war. And when we got a war that we're fighting here on racism, you don't want to hear that? No, it's the truth that they're afraid of. We don't carry no weapons, but the weapon that the minister has is what's in his mouth, the truth that is. So, you, as my Christian sister, we are taught whenever you're looking at, in particular, Black people, you're looking at God. So,
Mm,
how do you treat God? How can I see you and allow anybody to reference you as the B word or the MF or the NIWGA? No, no, no. A brother told me, hey, brother Patrick, what's going on, dog? I said, oh man, I'm good, my brother. Could you do me a favor? Just call me God. Nah, man, I'm not gonna call you no God. I said, you didn't have a problem calling me dog.
mm.
I said, spell dog backwards.
God.
G-O-D. Ye are all God's children of the Most High God.
Brother Patrick Muhammad, I want to know, what is the role of the nation today? And maybe more specifically, what are you guys doing in the Miami community? What are some things that you're doing to make a difference, especially in this time of civil unrest? We see what's going on with police brutality. Are you guys doing anything specifically in the community? When I think about the Nation of Islam, I know it's cliche to say it, but to me it was so cool. Like I think about the Malcolm X movie and seeing all those men uniformed and together. And so just kind of let me know, like, what are you guys doing in the community? It's, specifically in Miami-Dade County, like what is your mission, or what are your, I guess, some short-term and long-term goals you have for the community?
It's specifically to be peacemakers among our people. Our number one thing is to be peacemakers. When you see brother like Brother Lyle is a member of the Nation of Islam. Brother Lyle is also part of the Circle of Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
When you see Brother Al is also a member of the Nation of Islam and part of the Circle of Brotherhood. I'm also part of the Circle of Brotherhood. So it's,
Brotherhood.
hey, come on, it's one brother, one hood, right? Brother Leroy and all my brothers, uh, Pastor Anthony and all of them, that minister, all of
uh,
those brothers.
is Brother Philip as well?
Yes, Brother
Yeah.
Philip. Brother Philip is actually in the Nation of Islam. He is the seventh regional protocol director. So we are that, but we expanding. Why? Because in our expansion is to work with our brothers and sisters in any way that we can help. So if God puts an idea into you, my sister, and we're like, oh, that's a beautiful idea. The first thing we want to do is how can we help? We have guidance that we can share with. Like, for instance, you mentioned something about domestic violence. My wife is an advocate against domestic violence.
I need to
She is
connect with
so. Oh,
her.
what you mean? We gonna connect.
Yes.
The moment you said that, I was like, wait till I tell her. You know, I mean, she's an advocate. That I mean, she lives and breathes that. You know, because there's a lot of sisters who are affected by that in their home bringing. I watched my mother get abused as well. So, what are we going to do to bring about a solution? The Nation of Islam is here to give good guidance. We have a solution, but we must first create the peace among us. And so, what you see with the circle of brotherhood and everything else, whenever we hear an issue in our community, we want to try to be there to help prevent the situation. So, my job, my dear sister, I want to be an advocate that will be about teaching our people who they are. When I'm in Liberty City, when I walk in the hood and I see the young brother with his pants sagging, I say, hey, what's going on, man? I said, man, do you know who you are? That's my favorite question. Nah, man, I was born here. I'm from here. I said, no. And I look at them in the eyes. Do you really know who you are? And after that, they was like, okay, what is it, man? Who am I? I said, you a God, black man.
Mm.
That's my job. Say,
Man, that's
we
good.
start right there. We start right there. When I see the baby, I don't care what their age is. And I said, what's your name? Little girls that I run into in Liberty City, and sometimes I've had sisters to tell me, I said, how you doing, sister? And first of all, don't call, I ain't your AMF sister. Okay, how do you react to that? See, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan
I know
teaches
how
us
I react.
what. Okay, but watch now, which is there's something that is natural, but there's something that is supernatural. Supernatural is greater than natural. There's ordinary, there's extraordinary. My sister, I'm glad you brought that point as we're saying this. I used to read the Bible, right? And I used to kind of wonder about when Jesus said, if they slap you, turn the other cheek. I said, man, I got a problem with that, man. I'm not letting nobody slap me. I mean, in the Nation of Islam, I'm just going to say it. We are never the aggressor. Don't put your hands on us. That's all we say. You put your hands on us, if you turn our cheek, we'll turn your other cheek.
I ain't mad at that.
I mean, that's just natural. Okay. But I wanted to understand, what does that mean? And one day, the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan said to us, do you know what that means? That means when you're serving your people, your own people will lie on you, they'll slack talk on you, they'll gossip on you, they'll try to assassinate your character, but they're in ignorance. So turn the other cheek.
Mm. I didn't even think about it in that regard.
See, love them more than they hate themselves. Love them more than they hate themselves. So when people will tell me, you are nothing but an MF, I said, brother, you have a peaceful day.
Mm.
We go back again and they still the same way. I got some brothers that I know now in Liberty City in Miami. How you doing, my brother? Now we hugging, but it wasn't like that a few months ago.
Wow.
Love is the greatest thing. And so you display love. How can the Nation of Islam go in the community without guns and do what they do? Love. Our bulletproof vest is love. We wear our suit and tie, but underneath it is the breastplate of the mighty God. I love you, brother. When's the last time we passed one of our sisters? She might be all strung out on crack cocaine. When's the last time, whether you call yourself a Muslim or a Christian or a cat, whatever you call it, when the last time you stopped and sat down with that person on the sidewalk and just give him a hug and say, I love you, sister? Wouldn't Jesus do that? See, we talk Jesus, we talk religion, but living it, it's a whole different ballgame. I have witnessed the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan do that all the time. I've seen entertainers around him. How you doing, minister? Rappers and singers, you know what? And the minister will be there, and he was at a park. He looked to his right, and there was a homeless brother standing about 100 yards away, just watching. And he's like, I don't want to approach the scene. The minister left the artist to go talk to the homeless brother.
Mm.
See? So what we're doing in the community, we want to stop this nonsense. And I started doing it in Liberty City. Some people will invite me, some people won't. It don't make me a difference because the real work is in the community. Why are we so silent before this coronavirus in Liberty City on all this rape that's going on that our
Ooh.
sisters are saying, and the sisters are saying that people under law enforcement are raping them? Why are we quiet on that? What happened to all the sex trafficking that is going in the Miami-Dade County? Why are we quiet on that? Who's behind it? What's the money behind it? What about those missing children coming up and then later on body parts are gone from them? Who's stealing the body parts? Where are they going to? No, my dear sister, I don't care if I don't have nothing. As long as God blesses me with a mouth to speak the truth as a student of the minister, I want to address that because that's big business and we are their product.
Wow. Brother Muhammad, man, you broke that down, and I really
Praise
appreciate
God.
you doing that and kind of sharing and kind of, I guess, removing that veil, for people who are watching, about like what the nation represents, that it's about love, it's not about division. And I'm glad that you were able to share that. And then also too, I kind of want to put it out there for anybody who's watching from other denominations, other churches. For me, it was important to do this interview because I know that the nation supports Black media. And I
Yes.
know just personally from my interactions with, like I said, with people in Miami-Dade County, people in the nation, they have supported High-Low News, me being a
That's
Black
right.
female business owner, Black media. And so for me, I wanted to make sure that I extended my platform as well to
Thank you.
a group that has always supported, what I do. And so I appreciate you for that. I put in the on the comments, but I just wanted to make sure I had the website correct. Is it oni.org? Like, how can people watch the message this weekend?
Yes, it's www dot n like Nancy, o like Oscar, I like India dot org. www dot noi dot org. You can stream on your phone.
So
You
it's
can,
NOI.org.
yes, NOI.org. It'll be playing all over the world. The minister had spoken on one of our calls recently on a prayer line, and nearly 15,000 people were listening to it in London, in the Caribbean islands, in Africa. This message will be streaming live in Europe, in the United Kingdom as well. This is a message for the world. You don't want to miss it. This is going to be very important. And then after that, let's get up with what the minister says and let's get to work and do what we got to do. This government has been after the minister for many years. Prophecies must be fulfilled as well. So I am praying to God, my dear sister, to bless me with the Spirit, to always seek refuge in Him, to always rely on Him. I'm talking about the God now, to always be in His divine bosom. And I'm praying to Him to expand my breast to work for my people in the suffering of humanity like I've never worked before. I don't want to judge anybody. I'm not qualified to judge anybody. What I'm qualified to do is to go help my brother and sister that's in the mud of civilization. We all we got is God and each other. And when we
Amen.
do that, we can help each other. I pray that Almighty God blesses you, sister, with your
Thank you.
show. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep making God the center of your life. Put your faith and trust in Him, and we depend on Him and each other. And we're here, the Nation of Islam in Miami, to support you, work
Mm.
with you. Any problem that we have, the solution God has placed right in between us. We
Mm,
just gotta have that love. And I end by saying this: we got a disease, especially among black people and other people too, but I'm talking about us now. In
mm-hmm.
order for us to work together, that disease that we have to get rid of, you know, that bottle that people go to the liquor store and there's the liquor bottle that they call E&J. It's like old school, but it's
Yeah.
still around, right? Well, there's a spiritual liquor bottle that we got to get rid of. The E&J, which stands for envy and jealousy. That's what we got to work on.
Mm,
A lot of times when somebody's knocking another person down, is because they got some envy and jealousy about them,
that's
and they're
deep.
hiding behind that. So we will have to solve that as well.
I thank you, Brother Muhammad. How can
Thank
people connect
you.
with you on social media
Yes,
or what
social
on the
media,
website, whatever? Let us know how to
absolutely.
connect with
On Facebook, I am Patrick Muhammad. You can look for me there and you'll see this face. And then on Instagram, you can go to Bookman, that's BOUKMAN_FOI. And I'm there. I'm here to serve. I'm also at the mosque whenever we open again on 5660 Northwest 7th Avenue in Miami. So I'm there and I look forward to working with you all and serving you all. We got work to do, so let's go.
Yes, we do. And make sure you send that over your information over to me. I'll make sure I put that in the description box so people can connect directly with you just in case they, didn't write it down. They could just we'll make it easy for them. But I definitely want to
Yes.
appreciate you again
Thank you.
and thank you for coming on and explaining what the minister's message will be this
Yes.
weekend. So on the screen I have oni.org to watch this Saturday at 11 a.m., correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
All right. So
Okay,
you
my
guys
sister.
make sure you guys, tune in. Thank you again, Brother Muhammad. And you have a great day.
Likewise, God willing, we talk soon.
Yes, we will.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.